Imagine you're standing in a grocery store. You pick up a loaf of bread, tap your phone against a plastic box, and walk out. You didn't give the cashier anything physical. You didn't trade him your shirt or a few hours of your labor. You traded a digital idea of value. But if you were to drop back 30,000 years, that tap would mean nothing. You'd be standing in the mud, holding a fresh kill, wondering how to get that flint tool from the guy across the river who doesn't even like you. We take money for granted as an everyday thing. But it is arguably the most successful shared hallucination in human history. Today, we're going to look at the transition from social debt to physical coins, and why your brain is biologically wired to understand value, even if the money itself isn't real. You've probably been told that before money, humans used barter. I give you a spear, you give me a basket of berries. But according to the science of human behavior, that almost never happened within a single tribe. In a small group of early humans, life was based on social credit. You are there. You just brought back a deer. Your neighbor is hungry. You don't ask him for 3 arrowheads in exchange. You just give him the meat. Why? Because you know that in 2 weeks, when you're the one coming home empty-handed, he owes you. For most of human history, money wasn't a coin. It was a memory of who was a good person and who wasn't. The disturbing reality of ancient survival was that if you didn't contribute, you weren't just poor, you were dead. The problem started when we began traveling. As we've seen in how ancient humans traveled the world, we eventually met people we didn't know and didn't trust. You couldn't rely on a social memory with a stranger from another valley. You needed something that held value on its own. This is where things get weird. Humans didn't just pick gold, we picked cowrie shells. For centuries, these tiny shells from the Indian Ocean were the world's most successful currency. They were impossible to forge, easy to carry, and most importantly, everyone agreed they were valuable. In other parts of the world, we used commodity money, like salt, or even giant stone wheels on the island of Yap. This was the first time humans accidentally invented a way to trade with enemies, moving beyond the small group behavior that shaped our species. Fast forward to around 600 BCE in Lydia, modern-day Turkey. This is the moment the science behind everyday things truly changes. Before this, if you wanted to buy a horse with gold, you had to carry a scale and a rubbing stone to prove the gold was pure. It was slow and annoying. The king of Lydia had a world-changing idea. What if the government just weighed the metal for you and stamped it with a lion's head? This was the first real money. Suddenly, you didn't have to be a scientist to trade, you just had to count. This exploded the human ability to build empires. For the first time, a soldier in a distant land could be paid in a currency he could spend anywhere. It's the same logic behind why we are the only human species left, our ability to organize in massive, anonymous groups using shared systems of value. The final shift happened when we realized we didn't even need the metal. Carrying heavy gold coins was dangerous. You were a walking target for a disturbing end. In 7th century China, merchants started leaving their heavy coins with a trusted person and carrying a paper receipt instead. This was the birth of fiat currency. The paper had no value. You couldn't eat it. You couldn't make a spear out of it. It only worked because of the IKEA effect of human society. We value the systems we build together. You trust that piece of paper or that digital tap because everyone else does. So, when did we actually start using money? We've been using it since the first time one human helped another and expected a favor in return. The coins and apps are just new ways to track that ancient behavior. Next time you pay for a coffee, remember, you're participating in a 30,000-year-old human survival strategy that turned us from wandering tribes into a global civilization.